I don't even know where to start. I'm so upset. There's so many injuries. I don't have an intro, and there's just so many injuries. I don't even know.
It's like week 2 or week 3 all over again.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like this week, it was a lot more significant players,
Mm-hmm.
like Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Jimmy Garoppolo, Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, and Kyler Murray's been out. But that's most teams' quarterbacks for fantasy. And then Christian McCaffrey might be out. So if you have him.
Shanahan did hint that he could play in week 7. It'd probably be smart to hold him out just because of how much they work him in that backfield. I'd like to see his usage go down. But as a Christian McCaffrey owner, I also love how often he touches the football. He just takes so many big hits, and that's what leads to injuries like we saw with his obliques. So it wouldn't shock me if he played week 7 because that dude is the ultimate tough guy. But if the 49ers are smart, which I think they are, and they know where they sit in the NFC, atop the NFC with the Eagles, they would be well off to sit him a week, let him rest, maybe even 2 weeks if that's what it calls for, so that he's fully healthy for the rest of the year. That's the smart play. Will they go the smart route? That's to be determined.
That also depends on when Debo comes back too.
Well, and Debo really wasn't anything crazy when he was healthy, so that isn't the biggest loss to me. But McCaffrey is that offense. He's every bit of that offense. I don't care what anyone says about Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy's a great quarterback, but Christian McCaffrey's that offense. From a receiving standpoint and a running standpoint, he is the offense.
And you saw them struggle to play good football.
Well, because they play such a different style of football with him in, because you can. And with the other backs in that backfield, like Elijah Mitchell or Jordan Mason, you can't do that. It's just, he is such a different player, which is why he's the number 1 fantasy player and arguably the number 1 running back in all of football. Yeah. That's why the 49ers are so explosive, because you can provide so many different looks that a defense has no clue what McCaffrey's about to do. He'll either line up beside you and run the football, or bounce out for a dump off option, or he can set up outside and be a receiver. He can do everything on the field. And without him, the 49ers do take a step back offensively.
Yeah, that's why them losing to the Browns. I mean, they could have won that game with the field goal, but they missed it and choked, which hurt because I had money on them winning.
Oh, did you? Most people did.
Yeah, that's why you don't always go for the biggest dog, or not
biggest favorite.
Biggest favorite. The dog would have been the Browns.
Yeah, and they had a lot of money, plus 375 or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. I was like, nah.
Could be worse. Could be Colorado and blow a 29-0 lead at half.
That is true.
Pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. But no, injuries, I mean, they are just such a rough factor to this fantasy football season.
I can't remember the last time it was this bad.
There's a league that I'm in. I'm going to name, actually, there's 2 leagues that I'm in, and I'm going to tell you who's injured and who I'm missing this week. So let's just say McCaffrey's out. Okay. He was my RB1 in this league. I also have David Montgomery. Ooh. He went down with injury and is expected to miss time. Jahmyr Gibbs was out last week. We'll see if he comes back. I'm guessing he will. But is Jahmyr Gibbs going to offer more than he has been? Maybe. He has done nothing this year to impress me. And then I also have Nick Chubb in this league. And let's just say Nick Chubb is no longer playing football this season. My lineup, because of buys, is Hurts, Brown, Tyreek Hill, and Addison. Okay, so this is a dynasty league. So that's why I have certain play, because you're probably like, what the heck? How do you have these guys? It's a dynasty league, so it all carries over, and it's a team that I've just built. I have no running backs because Breece Hall's on a bye. 0 running backs because my running backs were McCaffrey, Montgomery, Breece Hall, and Chubb. So I literally have no running backs this week. I'm starting Amari Cooper in my flex, and this is a point per rush league, okay? So every time a running back or, a quarterback tucks and runs, that's 1 point. Every time. So running backs are lethal in this league. Without running backs, you're practically nothing. So I'm starting a receiver in my flex where I absolutely need a running back. So we are hitting the waiver wire hard in this league. Now I'm going to read you my other team.
Okay.
Another dynasty league. And I am without Justin Jefferson, Justin Fields, James Conner, Khalil Herbert, and Nick Chubb. Okay?
Ooh.
That's how hefty the injuries, the injuries have been this season. And it's just, it's really hard to like combat. Like as a fan, I can make do because like, you know, half of fantasy football is playing on the fly. It's figuring things out like a hockey player changes it in a game. You just move on the fly. You just gotta do whatever works in order to be competitive each week. But it's really hard to do that in dynasty leagues in particular when nobody's available. Like there's like no one available in these leagues because the benches are so big. Like the benches are like 10 deep. Well, it's because you're practically holding on to a football team, right? So that's what I'm struggling with. And the people available in these leagues, Zach Evans is at least available, but I don't need a running back in the second league. I absolutely need it in the first. But the guy that has Kyron Williams is 2 spots ahead of me in waivers. So you know he's going to snag Evans, which is going to put me right back where I started with either picking up Jordan Mason because he's the only other guy available because Elijah Mitchell's owned. So I pick up Jordan Mason and I just start him because I have to.
And you hope for the best.
Yeah, and hope that he touches the ball 10 times so I get 10 points. Maybe he gets 45 yards on the ground. I get 14, whatever it is. If he finds his way into the end zone, even better. But I've almost accepted the L this week. And then I found out who I was playing. I'm playing the guy in last place who doesn't have a very good team. So I could still be competitive even without 2 running backs in the mix. But I need to find a way to do that. So guys on the waivers that are going to be absolute weapons this week. Zach Evans is in line to get all the touches in LA. Again, Jordan Mason's going to compete with Elijah Mitchell. I prefer Jordan Mason over Elijah Mitchell just because Elijah Mitchell is still trying to get back to full form and he's always injured. He's 25. Did you know that? You would think Elijah Mitchell's 31.
I thought he was pretty old. I didn't know he's 25.
He's 25. He's 1 year older than Jordan Mason. That's ridiculous because we look at Elijah Mitchell as if he walks with a cane into the facility.
Yeah.
So I lean Jordan Mason just because he's healthy and he's been a part of this offense throughout this season. And I think they can pivot easier to Jordan Mason's game than they can to Elijah Mitchell's game.
Yeah. Like an our team in general. So this week so we have like Brock Purdy, ETN. We have to play Kareem Hunt because our running backs, James Conner, HN, and then Miles Sanders is out. So we're putting Kareem
Who's got Chuba Hubbard, excuse me. I'm thinking Chuba Purdy.
Right now I am trying to get us to get a
Well, oh, okay. Well, you're going to drop DeMercado?
Yeah, he did not get that many touches last week at all.
I didn't even pay attention to the Cardinals.
We had 3 points last week. He did not get the workload that was expected out of that backfield.
So did Damian Williams cut into that?
Yes.
Because he got demoted back to the practice squad. I don't know if you saw that.
Today?
Damian Williams did. Did they even have the opportunity to run the football much, though, against the Rams? Maybe not. I like the addition. I mean, you can play him right away if you lean that direction.
But it's also they're playing the Seahawks, and that's a pretty good run defense. So
yeah, well,
we'll look into it.
Zach Evans is a great play this week. He's going to be the number 1 running back pickup. Another name I want people to watch, and this one is a little bit of a stretch, and you're playing the long game here. He is currently 2% rostered, and his name is Playoff Lenny. Watch out for Leonard Fournette. He's visiting with teams. He says he's in really good shape. who knows if we can really believe that or not. But there are a lot of teams out there that are hurting for running backs and proven running backs at that. And when you look for somebody that's done it and has won it, even though he tailed off at the end of his Tampa Bay career, if you're looking for somebody that has actually done it and has been successful doing it, and you need a veteran presence in the room, there's going to be a team or two that snag Leonard Fournette. So if you hold on to him, if you have deep bench spots like I do in dynasty leagues, like that's what I'm going after right now, because maybe, just maybe, he'll get added to the Lions because of how successful they are. If David Montgomery's injury is worse than, people believe, he may get added to a 49ers team just so that they have depth until they can get Christian McCaffrey healthy again. He may be added to a Miami Dolphins team if Achane is not fully ready to get back for weeks on end. This is all speculation, right? But I like the idea of finding a way to make room for Leonard Fournette on my team right now, because there aren't a lot of good running backs available. You were saying before we even started this podcast, there are no running backs available in our ESPN league.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to stretch, and you have to stretch really far to try to find a diamond in the rough. And Leonard Fournette could be that guy.
I agree. I mean, that's because. So what teams? You said the Dolphins.
Well, I said the Dolphins could be I don't know who he visited with, but there are teams right now that are hurting for a good running back. And I'm not saying Leonard Fournette is Leonard Fournette of 2 years ago. I'm not going to say that because we don't know. He would be on a team right now if we knew. But what I am saying is he's proven that he's done it before. So if the Dolphins need help, if the Chiefs need help, which they don't right now, but who knows with that running back room, they're all over the place. If the 49ers need help, if the Lions need help, three of those four teams are 5-1. Are the Chiefs 5-1 too, or are they 4-2? They're one of the two.
They're 4-2, I believe, because they're
5-1. So I just named 4 5-1 teams. Now the Chiefs are the longer shot there, but we've seen them before add a veteran running back just to have them in the room. Like they add veteran wide receivers all the time.
Yeah. It'll be interesting this week how things progress, and even next week, because the way things are going, who knows what's going to happen with anybody else.
But I sat on my phone for the last hour trying to add and drop people in all of my leagues because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I am completely screwed. I'm completely screwed. Like that's how I'm thinking right now. And so we'll see how things shake out. I like the situation I'm in some leagues, but it's funny how if you play in multiple leagues, at least this year, my problem in one league isn't my problem in another league, other than the Nick Chubb, injury that took him out because I had him in both leagues. But like I have quarterback issues in one league. I have running back issues in another league. In another league, I have a wide receiver issue. I have a tight end issue in another league. And I'm just like all over the place with, okay, I'm going to add this guy. I'm going to drop this guy. And, my teams just don't look anything alike, which I like to a degree. But I also hate it because in most cases, I'm matching up with somebody that has players from this league. I'm matching up with players that has certain guys in that league that I'm like, oh, I need 18 points from them. But if he gets 18 points and I win that league, I actually lose this league. So that's the beauty of fantasy football, right? You mix and match like you're a real NFL owner, an NFL GM, right? You're trying to find ways to build a championship team. And, for most of us, we're in good shape. For others, not so much because injuries have, the cards fell in the wrong direction.
See, fantasy football, I feel like some people get confused on how you have to because so we're fans. You're friends of the Bears. I'm fans of the Vikings. Mm-hmm. There's 1 week where you don't want your team to do good, and some people don't understand that at all for fantasy football. Like in that way, like explaining fantasy football to someone that doesn't play.
Right. I'll say this though: I will always root for my team over my fantasy football team. Always.
So there's $1,000. You're in a $1,000 league.
Mm-hmm.
You're in first place in that league.
Mm-hmm.
You have to root for Justin Fields to not score any points. Are you still doing that to win the 1,000?
Well, are the Bears competitive? Like, are the Bears in playoff position?
Wild card.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Bears.
Okay.
I'm rooting for the Bears.
Cam, how about you?
No, I'm not going to root for the Bears.
Well,
That's good. No, I'd root for the Chiefs. Yeah, I don't care.
I would much rather see my team win than me personally win. Plus, I'm not in $1,000 leagues, and I never would put myself in that position. If you said like $50, that would make more sense, and I'd still root for the Bears.
the pot is 1,000.
Even still, I would much rather see the Bears win. I would like the $1,000. Don't get me wrong, but if the Bears have a chance to win a Super Bowl that year, I would rather see my team win a Super Bowl because that would give me more long-term joy than $1,000.
Man, you're just you're reading my mind, man. It's crazy.
It's crazy, man.
Just put the Chiefs in instead of the Bears, and I'm sad.
I mean, you would say the same thing about the Vikings, though.
Well, yeah, because we've been so close.
But but that's the thing. Like, no amount of money would stop me from wanting my team to win.
I know some people who would rather win the money.
And here's what I'd probably do. If I knew $1,000 were on the line,
I was like $1 million. I'll root against the Chiefs. So I'll reinvest that. I'll become a multimillionaire real fast.
Yeah, but you could also take out a loan, right? Put all of that money on your team to win.
Oh,
You
true.
still win the money. You pay back the loan, and then you invest that. You get a championship with your team, and you made all the money you would have made in fantasy.
Cue the
Like,
Kurt Warner commercial.
It's very
don't bet
easy
more
for
than
us
you
to
can
make
handle.
money. If you guaranteed me a win for the Bears and a loss for my $1,000, I would take a loan out with the bank. So I put all my money on the fucking Bears. Frickin' Bears. We'll bleep that out.
We'll keep it in.
Yeah, who cares?
I'll put all my money on the dang Bears.
I'm late. I'm always late on the set.
And I'll make it. Good Lord, I'm like cuss galore today.
Just got off the radio and just ready to let him fly.
Well,
man.
yeah. Once I know that I'm on a podcast and not on the radio, I get censored. The switch floop, back on. Andrew's cuss words come back into play. No, I can make money. I know I can in that moment. And this is a stupid hypothetical, Brandon.
Well, I had to explain fantasy football to someone this weekend, so I was just asking questions.
Well, I'm out of here.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, well, that sucks.
I mean, I'm still here.
Okay, I was like, I didn't know. I was like,
All right, what do you got for me today? What are we doing? Ad drop? What are we doing?
yeah, we need to do quarterbacks. So
Go
I'm going
for
to give you. All right, Derek Carr.
I would add Derek Carr as long as he's healthy, because if he doesn't play this week, he does nobody any good. But I would grab Derek Carr because he throws the football a lot in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And last week I think he threw for over 300 yards. He had a really good fantasy week. He didn't make up for it in touchdowns, but the week before that, when he threw for like 180 yards, he had 3 passing touchdowns. So Derek Carr just knows how to give you consistent fantasy value. I like Derek Carr to add.
Sam Howell.
I would add Sam Howell as well. Similar situation, but Sam Howell has a really, really, really tough opponent this week.
Gardner Minshew.
I would leave Minshew Mania. I'm not all in. He's too inconsistent for me. And plus, the Colts are just kind of a broken team at this point. We still don't know how much they're going to use Jonathan Taylor. They need to lean on him a ton more now that Anthony Richardson is likely to miss the
They're not
entire
even
year.
Using him. They're using Zach Moss.
Yeah,
which is
well,
weird.
they're still slowly getting him back to full form, to full workload. So that didn't shock me too much because I think Moss still only had 7 carries last week on 21 yards, 3 yards a carry, gets into the end zone. So it saves his fantasy day, but you'll find out pretty soon that Jonathan Taylor will be the guy that touches the football 17 to 20 times again.
So we went over running backs, so we're not going to go there. So wide receivers, I have Rashee Rice.
I like Rashee.
I think he's emerging as the wide receiver 1.
I'd take him.
I don't know if I'd go that far because Travis Kelce is still wide receiver 1, even though he plays tight end.
Yeah.
Because he puts up wide receiver value. But just in the wide receiving room, you could convince me that he's the best guy in the room. Kadarius Toney drops too many balls. I'm not in love with his route running. Sky Moore has, remember when Steve Smith called Jerry Jeudy just a guy, a jag? That's Sky Moore. Sky Moore is a jag. But Rashee Rice is not. He could be somebody that could be pretty special. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that means he's going to put up 600 yards this season and 7 touchdowns. I don't know if that means he's going to be the next Tyreek Hill and have a 1,000-yard season and X amount of touchdowns somewhere on in his football career. But what I do know is he looks, for the first time in a long time, to be the most consistent receiver in that room.
Jameson Williams.
I like Jameson Williams. I think we're going to see a lot more of him. Jared Goff spreads the football around, yes, but Jameson Williams is that deep threat guy that will get you 3 catches, but he'll put up like 60 yards.
Yeah.
He may end up in the end zone too. I think he's a good stash. I wouldn't use my waiver on him, but I would grab him in free agency because I don't think many people are going to pick him up. And if they do, then, kudos to them. They're taking a long shot with their waiver. I don't like to take a long shot with my waiver, though. I need somebody right now if I'm using my waiver.
All right, and then tight end, since we have a couple people on teams on bye weeks, Luke Musgrave for the Packers.
See, I've been on Musgrave's train. I've been off. Then I got back on Musgrave's train, and now I'm off. I don't think he's worth adding because of his inconsistency, too. Musgrave is a guy that he can have his weeks. He can have 5 catches for 43 yards, but he can also have his week of 1 catch for 13 yards. Kind of like a little Jake Ferguson-esque.
Yeah.
So I'm out on Luke Musgrave, but he has all the potential in the world to be good. He just doesn't have a good quarterback. Jordan Love's not a good quarterback.
Speaking of bad quarterbacks, Desmond Ridder. What about Jonnu Smith?
I thought you were going to say Kyle Pitts, and I'm like, yeah, it's about time he showed up. Talk about just a guy. Jonnu Smith, no. I'm passing on Jonnu. It's not. There's not enough juice there for me to get excited about. With Kyle Pitts actually having a decent game, yes, Jonnu found the end zone, but no, just no. Desmond Ridder, he could be benched any day. He really could.
Yeah. Maybe Mariota will come back.
But at the same time, Desmond Ridder's kind of a good fantasy quarterback.
Not this week. He threw 3 interceptions.
That's all right, though, because he still had a ton of points because he threw for like 350 yards.
Yeah, he likes to air it out a lot.
And interceptions are like, what, -2? That's it?
Depending on how crazy your league manager is, it's 2. Some people do 7. There's a league in mine that do 7.
7. That's rough. But I'll give you the score from Desmond Ridder this week. In one of my leagues, he had 16 points, which isn't bad. 307 because of those 2 touchdowns. And yes, the 3 picks were there, but all in all, 16 points is a decent fantasy day for a quarterback.
Yeah, that's not bad. All right, should we do game picks?
Let's do some game picks because last week I think I went 2-1. The Cowboys saved me.
They did.
Was I 2-1?
That sounds about right.
Or did I go 1-2?
I wasn't even here.
Oh, 1 and 2 because we all picked the Pats to beat the Raiders.
Oh, good. We
You pick for me?
we had Siri flip a coin.
Oh, sweet. Thank you, Siri.
So we all went 1-2?
Yes.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, because I should have went 2-1. The Seahawks should have won that game.
Yeah.
They absolutely should have won that football game. I'm still very, very, very disappointed.
So
that they came up short.
Overall, right now, Andrew, you are 5-7. Cam, you are 4-8, which is kind of Quarters kind of screwed you over there, and then I am 9-3.
9-3.
What?
Good night. He's cheating.
Yeah.
I'm not cheating.
You're keeping track of the scores yourself. I don't remember what we did 3
He's
weeks
got
ago.
more
Okay,
right than we have combined.
Okay, week 4. I have them all saved on
Fact
here.
check.
Prove it.
Fact check it.
Prove them all. I have not moved any of this. I keep it every week.
He's just really good at picking games. Give the kid some credit.
This is hilarious. He's like, here, check them all. And he's like scrolling super fast where I can't see a thing. I'm like, what are we doing? This is like me in high school saying I read the book. Like, yeah, I got through all the pages. Don't remember a single thing. All right, 9-3. What do you got this week?
Lions, Ravens.
I'll take the Lions on that one.
Is it in Baltimore?
I'm gonna have
The
to.
Lions at Ravens.
I believe so.
I just always go with the thing if they're second in the list, it's they're home.
I will. I'd rather root for the Lions, but I will take the Ravens at home.
Silly boy.
I'm gonna go with the Lions.
Those Lions are so hot right now.
Yeah.
The Ravens are 4-2.
Fair.
This is
Fair.
probably going to be the game of the week, the Dolphins and the Eagles.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's go. Gosh, Jalen Hurts looked so bad in the second half.
And is that the Sunday night game
Yeah.
in Philly?
Do. I got to go look at it. Week 7. Schedule.
It's a night game in Philly.
It would
Gonna
be in Philly.
chilly in Philly.
It would be indeed chilly in Philly. I like the over-under in this game. A lot of points, 52. I will take the Eagles.
Cam, you also have the Eagles?
No, I'll take
No.
the Dolphins.
Dolphins?
Yeah. I got a thing against the Eagles.
That makes sense.
You hate them.
I hate them. Yeah.
You hate our nation's
I
bird.
just like, they're whatever.
It's just because such a high offensive powered game where I
Mhm.
don't know who to choose because either Tyreek's going to have 475 yards and a touchdown, or he's going to have like 3 touchdowns and 150 yards.
Mhm.
And then the Eagles are the Eagles. So I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
The Eagles are the Eagles, so I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Sounds good. This
Oh,
is
those
9
Eagles,
and 3.
there's
This
always-
is 9 and 3.
Always shooting themselves in the foot one time.
All right, what's our third game?
49ers and Vikings.
Yeah, the 49ers. are winning
Niners
that
for
game.
sure. Yeah.
Skull.
Talk about 9 and 3. You mean 0 and 3 this week?
Hello.
What was that?
Just so we're all on the same page here, my fantasy record is equal to the Vikings team record.
Oh,
Just so you know,
is that so?
I'm 2-4.
Are we 5-1?
No. We're 4-2.
Oh, we're 4-2, just like the Ravens, huh?
Look at
Yeah.
that.
Well, there you have it.
Things just got interesting.
There you have it. We got on a tangent about injuries today. Did a little bit of waiver wire pickup and also our pick'ems, which seems like Cam and I need to come back heavily on.
I think I split the difference between you guys, so I should at least get a couple if Brandon's tally marks are.
Yeah, I don't think I have
Legit.
one game similar to Brandon's. I think we're all different.
Yeah.
So because of that, I have the potential to be 8-7.
You have all the potential.
You could be 9-6. Here I come. You hear that? That's me knocking on the door.
Ain't going to happen.
Use the doorbell.
I'm at least going to win something this year.
Play a doorbell sound for
I
me,
wish I
Cam.
had one. Ding dong. Ding dong.
Yeah, you don't have ring. You don't even know it's me. Can you imagine if that was somebody's doorbell?
Who at my door?
All right. That's the show.
Yep.
Yep.
Thumbs up.